Most men think they can instantly spot when a woman hasn't been touched or desired in a while. But here's the truth. Attraction doesn't always reveal itself through the obvious. Psychology shows us that her greetings, those small moments when she first acknowledges you, often carry the hidden signals of what she's really feeling inside. That's why in this video, we're breaking down 6 powerful greeting patterns women display when they've been without closeness for a long time. These aren't random quirks, they are subtle, psychological cues. And I'll tell you this up front. The last one may completely change how you interpret female attraction forever. If you're serious about understanding women on a deeper level, about reading the hidden language most men miss, then stay right here. Let's get into it. The story instead of hello. When a woman hasn't experienced intimacy or closeness for a long stretch, something as small as saying hello can feel heavier than most men realize. A greeting isn't just a word, it's an entry point. And for her, that entry point is loaded with emotion, anticipation, and often vulnerability. Psychology teaches us that in high-stakes moments charged with attraction, the human mind finds clever ways to redirect that energy into safer expressions. So instead of facing the tension head-on, she sidesteps. Suddenly, her greeting isn't hi or hello. It's a story. You won't believe what happened at the store today. Guess who I ran into on my way here? Let me tell you what just happened at work. On the surface, it looks like random chatter. But underneath, it's not the story that matters. The content of the words is secondary. What's important is the timing. She launches into narrative the very moment she sees you, because the story gives her cover. It buys her space to mask the intensity of that first contact. Psychologists call this displacement, redirecting emotional tension into a substitute behavior. In this case, instead of letting her voice tremble on a simple hello, she fills the space with storytelling. It feels easier to dive into an event, an anecdote, or a funny observation than to risk exposing the weight behind a single greeting. But here's where it gets fascinating. Those stories act like bridges. She doesn't tell them to distract you. She tells them to hold you, to anchor your attention, to keep you engaged, and to make sure the energy between you doesn't break. It's not about whether the story is interesting. It's about the way she uses it as a tool to manage attraction while keeping the connection alive. Think about it. A simple hi lasts a second, but a story stretches into minutes. By extending the greeting, she extends the closeness. She's not rushing through that moment with you. She's lingering, holding on, staying in your space longer than a hello would ever allow. Attraction psychology reveals that these greeting stories are almost always emotionally colored. They may sound casual, but they carry an undercurrent. If you listen closely, you'll notice she's animated, she's invested, she's pouring more energy into her words than the story deserves. That's not about the grocery store, the coworker, or the random incident. It's about you. It's her way of stepping into intimacy without the risk of being too raw, too exposed, too soon. So the next time a woman skips the standard hello and greets you with a sudden burst of narrative, pay attention. She's not just talking. She's revealing. She's letting you see the attraction she's trying so carefully to hide. The armor of politeness. Not every woman greets with teasing energy or a playful smile. Sometimes her hello comes wrapped in formality. A carefully measured, "How are you?" said with precise politeness, a straight posture, and eye contact that lingers just a little longer than it should. At first glance, it feels refined, even distant, like she's simply being proper. But psychology tells us there's much more happening under the surface. When a woman hasn't expressed desire in a while, she often leans on courtesy as protection. Politeness becomes a shield, a way to regulate emotions that might otherwise slip through too obviously. Think of it as emotional armor. The perfect manners keep her safe, but they also betray the very thing she's trying to hide, attraction. Her tone is calm, her words controlled, but the pause between them feels heavier than normal. The greeting isn't just etiquette, it's containment. She's using manners the way someone might hold a fragile vase with two hands. Carefully, deliberately, afraid of spilling what's inside. And here's the fascinating part. Men often mistake this for disinterest, when in reality, it's the opposite. That extra layer of polish usually shows that she feels more than she wants to admit. Politeness, in this case, doesn't mean she doesn't care. It means she cares so much. She has to protect herself with formality until she feels secure. The accidental touch that isn't accidental. Sometimes her hello doesn't come only through words. It comes through her body. A light tap on your arm as she says hi. The faintest brush of her shoulder against yours as she walks past. A hand that lingers on your sleeve just long enough to register before she pulls it back. On the surface, these seem casual, harmless, even accidental. But psychology says otherwise. When a woman hasn't felt closeness for a long stretch, greetings often become the safest excuse to touch. Think about it. Society gives her permission in that moment. A handshake, a hug, a friendly tap. Hidden inside those gestures is something deeper, an outlet for pent-up energy. The touch isn't random. It's timed perfectly with her hello, a way of closing physical distance while disguising it as casual contact. Why does this matter? Because physical touch, even micro-touch, bypasses language and hits the nervous system directly. Her body knows it before her mind can label it. That fleeting brush releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, even if only for a second. To you it may feel like nothing. To her, it's a spark test. Can I bridge this space without making it too obvious? And here's the secret. Women rarely touch by accident. In attraction psychology, these subtle taps and brushes are signals. She may not be ready to throw herself into your arms, but her body is asking a question. Do you notice? Do you respond? It's her way of testing connection, without risking rejection. So the next time she greets you with that accidental tap or brush, don't dismiss it. It isn't about the size of the gesture. It's about the fact that it happened at all. That tiny touch is her subconscious saying what her lips won't yet admit. The filler questions that don't need answers. Sometimes her greeting doesn't sound like a greeting at all. It sounds like a question. But not a real question. She'll say things like, "Did you find parking okay? Was it chilly outside? Did you get here all right?" On the surface, these sound like ordinary, polite questions. But here's the truth. She doesn't actually need your answer. She already knows you managed to park, she knows the weather outside, and she knows you clearly made it in just fine. So why does she ask? Psychology calls this social buffering. When attraction is high, especially if she hasn't been close to anyone in a while, saying a direct hello feels too raw, too exposed. The simple word hi carries weight. So instead, she hides her greeting inside questions that give her cover. It's not about the information. It's about the pause it buys her. Each filler question creates a few extra seconds for her to regulate the nervous energy surging through her body. Think of it like a pressure valve. She releases just enough tension through conversation so that the intensity of the moment doesn't overwhelm her. Here's the fascinating part. Women who use filler questions at greetings are often the ones who feel the deepest pull toward you. Because if she felt nothing, she wouldn't need to disguise her hello. She'd just say it casually and move on. But when desire is bubbling under the surface, her mind scrambles for safety. Those little, unnecessary questions are her way of staying in control, while still engaging you. So the next time she greets you with a question that doesn't really need an answer, don't brush it off as small talk. Look at it for what it is. Attraction wearing a mask. Her words may be light, but her nervous system is giving her away. The over-the-top energy greeting. Ever noticed when her hello feels bigger than the room? Maybe you walk into a quiet cafe and she greets you with an extra wide smile, big hand gestures, or a level of enthusiasm that almost feels out of sync with the environment. At first glance, it seems like she's just in a great mood, but psychology tells us something deeper is happening. When a woman hasn't experienced intimacy for a long stretch, her nervous system often overcorrects. The tension she feels inside, nervousness, attraction, vulnerability, gets disguised as amplified brightness on the outside. She greets you with exaggerated energy not because she's careless, but because she's trying to cover the intensity she actually feels. Think of it as camouflage. Instead of letting you see the quiet storm in her chest, she puts on a performance of excitement, laughter, or animated gestures. But here's the catch. The energy doesn't match the environment. That mismatch is your clue. A calm space paired with her overly vibrant hello is a psychological tell. In attraction psychology, this is known as compensatory behavior. She's compensating for the weight of her own desire by swinging to the opposite extreme. Playful, bubbly, larger than life. But beneath that high-energy hello is a woman managing nerves, covering desire, and anchoring herself in a version of control. So when her greeting feels too big for the room, don't dismiss it. That spark of extra energy isn't random, it's her way of saying, I feel something here, and I need to hide it behind brightness. The prolonged eye contact before a word. Sometimes the most powerful greeting is the one where nothing is said at all. Picture this. You enter the space, her eyes lock onto yours, and for just a moment, silence stretches. It feels like time pauses. And only then does she finally speak. At first, you might assume she's distracted or unsure. But psychology reveals the opposite. This is attraction in its rawest form. That frozen second before her hello is what's called a freeze response. It's her body catching up to the intensity of the moment before words break it. Why does this happen? Because eye contact is one of the most intimate nonverbal signals we have. When a woman hasn't felt closeness in a long time, her nervous system amplifies that first look. It becomes heavy, electric, loaded. Her silence isn't emptiness, it's fullness. Full of everything she wants to say, but can't yet put into words. And here's the secret. Prolonged eye contact at the very start is rarely an accident. It's not about politeness or distraction, it's about exposure. She's showing you more in that 1 second of silence than she could in an entire sentence. The greeting that follows might be simple. Just a hello, a polite phrase, but the gaze that came before carries all the weight of her unspoken desire. So when her eyes linger just a little too long before she says hello, understand this. You're not looking at hesitation. You're looking at a doorway into attraction she hasn't dared express yet. Here's the truth. These greetings aren't random. When a woman hasn't felt intimacy for a while, her subconscious slips into patterns. The story instead of hello, the exaggerated politeness, the accidental touch, the filler questions, the extra energy, the prolonged gaze, they're all signs of a nervous system caught between desire and protection. As a man, your job isn't to call it out or put her on the spot. Your job is to read the signals with calm confidence. Because when you stay grounded, she feels safe. And when she feels safe, the attraction she's holding back starts to flow naturally. Never chase, never pressure. Just notice, stay present, and let her actions reveal the truth. Women don't always say what they feel, but their greetings will always give them away. If this opened your eyes, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment and tell me, which of these 6 greetings have you actually seen in women before? And make sure you subscribe, because in my next video, I'm revealing exactly how women greet you when they're not just drawn to you, but when they're secretly craving you. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and always read between the lines.